the summary study of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Today we are going to take up the study of the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And before we begin, I shall chant a few prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I welcome everyone again to the 16th session of this 18-day systematic study on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And today we are going to take up the summary study of the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is entitled as the Daivi Asuri Sampat, or the divine and demoniac natures. So this chapter, the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, is divided into four parts or four sections. The first part, from text number 1 to 3, explains the Daivi Sampat, or the wonderful qualities that arise from divine nature. Section 2, from text number 4 to 20, explain the demoniac qualities, or Asuri Sampat. Section 3, from text 23 to 21 to 22, explain the three royal gates to Naraka, or to hell. And the final fourth section of the 16th chapter, from text 23 to 24, explain the significance of following the path laid down by the Vedic scriptures, by the Vedic teachings. So now, beginning from section 1, from text 1 to 3, which very beautifully explain that what exactly are divine qualities. It has already been mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita in quite a few instances, like in 9.13, Krishna says, Daivim Prakritimashhritaha, that Mahatmas, the great souls, are under the shelter of Daivi Prakriti, or the divine nature. And in 9.12, the opposite of Daivi Prakriti has been mentioned to be Mohinim Prakriti Mashritaha, the Mohini, or the potency of illusion or delusion. So now, what qualities arise from each of these natures, from the divine nature and from the demoniac nature, are going to be very beautifully explained in this chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Normally, when we hear of the Deva and Asura, we think, we picturize, we imagine a person in the heavenly planets to be a kind of a Deva or Devata, and somebody with very, very terrible looks, maybe with some horns or with some sharp teeth. We imagine such a kind of person to be an Asura or a demon. But actually, the division of the Devatas and the demons are according to their qualities that arise from each of their swabhava, or nature. So the criteria for categorizing somebody as divine or as demoniac is not according to some physical characteristics, but it is according to the qualities that are going to be described here in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, starting from the first section, text 1 to 3 explain the qualities that arise where in a person, in an individual, when he or she is under the influence of the divine nature. So, from text 1 to 3, Krishna explains about 26 divine qualities. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Danam Damascha Yagnascha Swadhyayastapa Agjavam Ahimsa Satyamakrodha Tyagah Kshantirapeshunam Daya Bhuteshvalo Luptvam Magdavam Hrirachapalam Teja Kshama Dhriti Shaucham अद्रोहो नातिमानिता भवन्ति संपदम दैवीम abhijatasya bharata. Krishna has now mentioned in these three verses 26 qualities that arise, that are present in a person with divine nature. In fact, to be specific, Krishna uses the word abhijataha, one who is born with divine nature. In the next verse, in text number 4, when Krishna explains about the demoniac qualities, about asuri sampat, the word used here is also very nice. It is sampat, just like we have a, a, a wealth with us. We have a collection of wealth that we may keep in our bank or in our home, in our safe. So likewise, a person has got his great wealth is the qualities that we possess. So those qualities are either divine or demoniac. So one who has got divine qualities is explained to be endowed with the wealth of divine qualities, whereas one with asuri swabhava is endowed with asuri gunas or the demoniac qualities. So again, Krishna uses the word abhijataha, one who is born with either divine or demoniac qualities. So, how is it that a person can be born with certain qualities? We normally think that a person is any person who is born completely innocent as a clean slate, and later that person acquires various qualities due to his association, due to one's training, due to one's environment. But actually, even birth is a great factor for how one develops various qualities, either divine or demoniac. This is actually a very great science in the Vedic body of knowledge known as Garbhadhana Samskara, that a person before he even decides to conceive a child, one has to plan out, one has to create a proper atmosphere, one has to develop a certain consciousness. So it's a whole process by which a child is endowed with good and divine qualities right from the time of one's birth. It is as simple as, if you want a good quality fruit, then you have to start right from the stage of uh, of the seed, how we plant the seed, how we take care of the sapling, how we take care of the tree. And in this way, right from sowing the seed and the soil, it all matters. All these are factors which determine the final output, the final quality of the fruit. Likewise, if even to get a small fruit, if one has to follow a certain process to get a good quality, then what to speak of getting a good quality human being? Actually, this science was discredited and rejected by the by the doctrine of modern science, because they were too influenced by the principles of independent action, and were driven by the principles and doctrines of lust, greed, and anger, due to which the science of how to bear a good child has almost been lost. But actually, there is a whole science in the Vedic body of knowledge called Garbhadhana Samskara, and later there are many, many more samskaras. So it is as scientific as getting a good quality fruit or yield. Likewise, one has to prepare the mother, the father, all have to prepare their consciousness, their environment, right from the time of conception up to the time of birth. And then the child who is born will be of a good quality, would be possessed with divine qualities right from the time of birth. So therefore, the Bhagavad Gita uses the word abhijatasya bharata, that a person is born with such divine or demoniac qualities. So, what are the divine qualities? Let us try to understand them. In text number 1, Krishna says, Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi. The first three qualities which are divine have been mentioned here as the first one is Abhayam, or fearlessness. The second one is Sattva Samshuddhi, or purification of one's existence. And the third one is Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi, being engaged in the cultivation of spiritual divine knowledge. So these three items, especially fearlessness, purification of one's existence, and Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi, to engage in the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, are specially meant for the sannyasis, or people in the renounced order of life. So, especially a sannyasi must be situated in fearlessness, purity, and knowledge. Fearlessness is a very important quality, abhayam, which is explained in, especially in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The entire Srimad Bhagavatam trains a person how to be fearless even at the time, the most critical juncture of death. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest Vedic scripture which was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit, the grandson of Arjuna. And Parikshit was supposed to die in just 7 days. And he put forth these questions to Shukadeva Goswami, that what is the prime duty of a person who is about to die? And in a very short span of time, say a few days or just 7 days, what is the means to attain the highest perfection of life? Moksha, or liberation. And the entire text of Srimad Bhagavatam gives us the gift of Abhayam, or fearlessness. So, fearlessness can come only with jnana, with knowledge. As long as we are in ignorance, ajnana, when things are unknown to us, the greatest unknown factor in this world is about death. Death is there. It is as sure as anything. It is the truth. It is the reality. But hardly anyone knows what really death is, what the experience of death is, what happens to us, to the soul after death. So, all these signs, how to prepare for death. So, when we are in complete ignorance of all this, we would always be situated in a sense of great fear. Whenever we are in ignorance, just like the present scenario where there is where there is a great sense of fear of the disease from coronavirus, there is a great amount of fear in everyone because people say there is no cure, there is no medicine, and in this way people are in great fear. But as soon as one comes to proper knowledge about birth, death, old age, and even disease, that how they are all superficial things related, connected only to the material body, and one's real identity is the eternal spiritual soul, one immediately comes to the stage of abhayam or fearlessness. The next item, the fourth item of knowledge which has been mentioned is danam, damaha, cha yagnascha. So the next three items have been explained by the acharyas to be specifically and specially meant for the grihasthas or the householders. And these three items of divine nature are danam or charity. So, in the Vedic culture, one is trained to have a very, very magnanimous heart and consciousness, and not to be self conceited and have, possess, and gather and accumulate more and more only for one's selfish purposes. One should always have the mood to share, to give, and especially in the Vedic culture, it is said that every day, on a daily basis, one must, especially a grihastha, must engage in some act of charity or danam. The second item is self control. The second item for a grihastha is damaha. Damaha means self control. So, although a grihastha or a householder has the opportunity and has the facility to engage in sense gratification, to pursue material enjoyment, yet one must be damaha, one must have self control. And the third item, specially for a grihastha, is mentioned as yagnaha, or the performance of sacrifice. And the best sacrifice, the highest sacrifice, as mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 10.25, is Yagnanam Japa Yagnosmi, is the chanting of the holy names of the Supreme Lord Krishna is the highest yagna, the highest act of performance of sacrifice. The seventh item is Swadhyayaha. Swadhyaya stapa arjavam. Swadhyaya is the study of the Vedic scriptures, and this is especially meant for the brahmacharis. The brahmacharya stage of life is like the foundation of the human form of life, where one thoroughly studies the Vedic knowledge, which encompasses the entirety of material and spiritual knowledge, and in that way one is properly trained up to have the right perspective and knowledge about life. The eighth item is tapaha. Tapaha means austerity. Austerity or tapasya is the voluntary acceptance of some inconvenience for a higher purpose. Just like a small child may just want to play the entire day, but the parents ask him to take up the austerity, to wake up early in the morning and engage in studies for a better future. So, tapasya is the voluntary acceptance of some inconveniences for a higher purpose. Ninth item is arjavam or simplicity. One should not be duplicitous. One should have a very, very simple attitude. The tenth item is ahimsa or non-violence. This is applicable for every human being. The human beings are endowed with a higher level of consciousness, and they have the higher responsibility not to commit violence to other living entities. The 11th item is Satyam or truthfulness. Akrodhaha means freedom from anger. Tyagaha, renunciation. Shantihi, peace or tranquility. Apaishunam is also a very beautiful divine quality, which means aversion to fault finding. There is a very beautiful instance wherein once Duryodhana approached the elders of the Kuru family and explained to them that why is it that all of you always favor the Pandavas and especially Yudhishthira. So at that time, Bhishma Deva gave a small test to the princess, to the Kuru and the Pandava princess. He asked Duryodhana to go and locate any good quality of any person. And then he also called Yudhishthira and sent him to go and find any bad quality in any person. So they went for a long time and then returned back, and each one of them reported. Duryodhana reported that I went around everywhere and did not find any good quality in anyone. He pointed out how every person had some bad qualities or the other. And then when Yudhishthira was asked, Yudhishthira said that actually, wherever I went, in every person that I came across, I found so many good qualities. Every person had some good quality or the other. And in this way, the Mahabharata says that Gunam icchanti panditaha, dosham icchanti pamaraha. That the panditas, the wise people, they seek out the gunaha, the good qualities in others. They are averse to fault finding. Whereas those who are pamaraha, those who are demoniac in nature, they always try to seek and find fault in others. Dosham icchanti pamaraha. The example is given that of a housefly and a bumblebee. If you allow a bumblebee to go even to a filthy place, and even if there is a single fragrant flower, the bumblebee would reject all the dirt around it, around that flower, and just accept the fragrance of the flower. Whereas a housefly, if it is even allowed into a beautiful garden with all kinds of beautiful flowers and fragrant things, yet it would reject all of that. And even if there is a little filth in one corner of that garden, it would go and happily accept that. So that is the nature of a divine and a demoniac person. Apaishunam or aversion to fault finding. There is also a saying in Bengali that one can wash one's own stool. If one tries to wash another's stool, it is very, very abominable. I hope you understand this example, that we should look at our own faults and wash off our own stool rather than putting our hands to wash and clean the stool of others. So now apaishunam is aversion to fault finding. The next is daya bhuteshu. One should be merciful towards all living entities. Aloluktvam, one should be free from greed, excessive greed. Magdavam means gentleness. Hrihi is modesty. Achapalam, determination. Tejaha is especially vigor. And Kshama means forgiveness. Dhriti is fortitude. Shaucham is cleanliness, and Adrohaha is freedom from anger and envy, animosity towards others. And the 26th item is Na Atimanita, not expecting honor from others. So these are the 26 divine qualities with which a person, Krishna says, Abhijatasya Bharata, one is born with these divine qualities. And how one is born, I have already explained that there is a whole science and process by which we can produce, we can conceive children with divine qualities. If we do not follow this procedure, the process, then naturally there would be an increase in children with demoniac qualities. There is a beautiful example in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, that how once the great sage Kashyapa and his wife Diti once approached him at a wrong time, being completely influenced by the mode of passion, with very, very degrading, lusty attitude. And at that time, when Diti and Kashyapa conceived, Diti gave birth to Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipus. So the seed, the beginning of demoniac life begins with the consciousness of the parents at the time of conception, at the time of conceiving the child. So moving further to the second section of the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, from text number 4 up to 20 is the elaborate description of the demoniac qualities. In text number 4, Krishna says, Dambho darpobhimanascha krodha parushyamevacha ajnanam chabhijatasya pagtha sampadam asurim. The Asuri Sampad are explained mainly to be 6 in number, and they are Dambha, pride; Darpaha, arrogance; Abhimanaha, conceit; Krodha, anger; Parushyam, harshness; and Ajnanam, or ignorance. So, in this way, the general divine qualities and the demoniac qualities have been mentioned, have been explained in the beginning of the 16th chapter, and further, Krishna elaborately explains how Dvau Bhuta Sargau Lokesmin Daiva Asura Evacha, that there are these two categories of people in this world. Again, these are not only just pure categorizations. Normally, a person is a mixture of many divine and demoniac qualities. So, there are various factors in the development of these qualities in a person. The first one being the process of conception by the parents to up to birth, and then after birth, one's association, one's training, one's environment, all these play a great role in shaping up the divine or demoniac qualities. But the beauty of the human form of life is such that one can, at any stage of life, become wise, and then take a resolve to develop, to pursue these qualities and develop them. It is not that if one is that one is condemned to be with some qualities always. One can develop them, one can change them, and one can elevate oneself from any stage of life. So further, Krishna says that Asuram Pagdhameshvanu. I shall now in great detail explain about the Asuri Swabhava, or the demoniac nature. The first demoniac quality is that pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidurasuraha na shaucham napi chacharo na satyam teshu vidyate. That a demoniac person does not have a clear conception of what is to be done, what is to be what is forbidden, and what is permitted activity. He thinks there is no such rules governing human behavior. One can act as one pleases. So this is not the case. We are going to learn further in this 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that all the activities in the human society must be performed according to the injunctions, according to the rules and regulations given in the Shastras, in the scriptures. Just like a nation, just like our Indian nation is governed by the doctrines given in the Indian constitution. One cannot prepare law in one's own home and say that today I can drive on the right side of the road, and somebody else says I can drive on the center of the road, or somebody else says that I should drive on the left side of the road. So even traffic rules are not arbitrary, they are very specific, and they are made by the government. Likewise, for the entire human society, the right principles of pravritti, what are permitted activities, what is nivritti, what are forbidden activities, these are given by the manual given by God himself, that is in the Vedas, the Vedic scriptures. And therefore, one who follows the path of the Vedas in pravritti, nivritti, in permitted activities, in forbidden activities, he is of divine nature. And people who say that one can do whatever one wishes to in life, they are actually of demoniac nature. They do not know what is proper acharaha, what is proper human behavior. Na satyam, neither do they follow the principles of truthfulness. And in this way, further Krishna says that such demoniac people say, asatyam apratishtham te jagad ahuranishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kimanyad kama hetukam. They say that this world has does not have any basis. Asatyam apratishtham te jagad ahur anishwaram, that there is no God, there is no supreme controller. How are things going on? It is just like that, by nature, by chance. They put forward the theory that everything is going on by chance. I hope you do understand where I'm pointing out to. The theory of chance by natural selection was proposed by the so-called scientist uh, Charles Darwin, who proposed the theory of evolution. The theory of evolution is one of the most demoniac theories. It has absolutely no scientific basis, zero scientific evidence. The theory of evolution has been completely rejected, rubbished, put into the dustbin even by the scientists from 1950s onwards. The whole theory is a complete mental speculation without any scientific basis also. But there are still many people, especially in India, who still think that the theory of evolution is some great thing, and they think that every word explained by Charles Darwin is like the absolute truth. Actually, it's the most demoniac and the most unscientific theory ever. And the greatest fault of the theory of Darwinism, of the theory of evolution, is very, very conveniently, Charles Darwin, being of an atheistic temperament, removed the role of God from the creation and further on in all the acts of creation. So, in fact, Charles Darwin was not even given a burial by the church after he died, because at least the Christian community understood that how atheistic the theory of evolution is. So the such theories and these theorists who have a demoniac nature, they proclaim that Jagad Ahur Anishwaram, this world does not have any controller. In fact, the latest scientific theories prove that there is a supreme intelligence, because everything in this creation is so complete and so perfect that there has to be an intelligence behind this creation. So this, in fact, is the present scientific development with regard to creation, with the understanding of the whole world around us. And the theory of evolution has been rejected, rubbished a long back, even by the scientific community. So such demoniac people are further explained that Kamamashritya dushpuram. They take shelter of insatiable lust. They are always situated in insatiable lust. They say even the whole world is going on simply by the principles of lust, of kama. Kim anyad kama hetukam. They say Jagad is Anishwaram, without any supreme controller. So what is driving the whole world? They say Kama Hetu. The Hetu, the cause of the whole material world is Kama, the attraction between man and woman, and that's what is driving the whole world. People get attracted, then they procreate, and then the generation continues, and in this way the world is going on. So there is a famous philosopher by name Sigmund Freud, who especially laid stress that there is nothing else in this world except lust between the opposite sexes. So they say the demoniac people take shelter of insatiable lust. Kamamashritya dushpuram dambha mana madanvitaha mohad grihitva asadgrahan pravartante ashuchivrataha. They are always engaged in unclean and contaminated activities, being driven by lust, pride, anger, and ignorance. A typical attitude of a demoniac person is very beautifully explained here in the 16th chapter as idam adyamaya labdham imam prapsye manoratham idam asti idam api me bhavishyati punardhanam asaumaya hata shatruhu hanishye cha paranapi ईश्वरोहम अहम भोगी सिद्धोहम बलवान सुखी आढ्योभिजनवानस्मि कोऽन्योऽस्ति सदृशो मया यक्ष्ये दास्यामि मोदिष्या इत्यज्ञान विमोहितः. A person deluded by these demoniac qualities, his typical nature has been described here as idam adya maya labdham, that so much I possess now, and more I shall accumulate and possess more and more. And by this, today I have eliminated so many of my enemies, and tomorrow, whoever is my enemy, in the future, I shall eliminate them also. And in this way, I shall accumulate more and more. And in this way, I shall become so much powerful, so much great. In fact, a person begins to think that Ishwaroham, I am the supreme, Aham Bhogi, I am the enjoyer, I am everything, I am all in all. So the typical demoniac mentality is I, me, and mine. His entire consciousness is self-centered. So that is the quality of demoniac nature. He also sometimes, the yakshe dasyami, sometimes he also thinks of doing some worship or giving some charity, and in that way he thinks that I have also taken care of the religious part as well. But he is never really dedicated to the path of spirituality, but he may just touch it for the sake of being convinced that he has also done something on the path of religiosity as well. And in this way, aneka chitta vibhranta mohajala samavritaha prasaktaha kama bhogeshu patanti narakeshu chau. Such demoniac people, being bewildered in so many ways, they gradually sink to the lowest regions of hellish existence, to Narakaloka. In fact, the heavenly or the hellish planets are not some phantasmagoria, they are not some figment of imagination of someone. The Bhagavad Gita and the Vedic scriptures very clearly explain the situation of the various planetary systems, including the higher planetary systems and the lower planetary systems. And then beyond the lower planetary systems, just above the Garbhodaka ocean, is the place called Samyamani, the abode of the Devata who governs justice, Yamaraja, and below Samyamani is the 29 kinds of Narakaloka or hellish planets, beginning from Tamisra, Andhatamisra, Raurava, Maharaurava, Kumbhipaka, Suchi Mukha, and all these varieties of hellish planets are there, especially the destination of people with demoniac nature. So now when we hear the description of the demoniac qualities in the Bhagavad Gita, that this is the attitude and the nature of people with demoniac principles. We should also introspect and look into ourselves, that how much of this dirt of demoniac qualities is filled in the heart of all of us: lust, greed, anger, pride, deceit. And therefore we should very, very seriously endeavor to remove this contamination by the path of spiritual life. Otherwise, Krishna repeatedly says in the 16th chapter that the destination of people with demoniac qualities is to this very, very horrible, hellish places. Now, in the next section, from text number 21 up to 21 to 22 in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna specifically mentions the three main reasons for developing these demoniac qualities, and therefore Krishna says that these are the three royal gates to hell. Dwaram Nashanamatmanaha. By these principles, one degrades oneself to the lowest form of existence. And what are these three things? Kamam, Krodham, Tatha Lobham. The first door to hell is lust or kama. The second one is krodhaha or anger, and the third one is lobhaha or greed. And therefore Krishna says tasmat etat trayam tyajit. One should strive intensely to give up, to become free from these three principles of degradation which lead one to hell. Krishna further explains that Kamaha krodhastatha lobhas tasma trividham narakasyedam dwaram nashanamat trividham. There are three principles of hellish destination, and they are Kamaha, Krodhaha, Tatha Lobhaha, Tasmat Etatrayam Tejet. Eter Vimuktaha Kaunteya Tamodvaraistribhignaraha Acharati Atmanaha Shreyaha Tato Yati Param Gatim. One who is able to give up these three principles of demoniac qualities, he can progress on the path of spiritual perfection. And now, coming to the final section, to the fourth section of the 16th chapter, Krishna gives the importance of the following of the Vedic injunctions by which one can safely proceed on the path of divinity, on Daivi Sampat. In 16.23, Krishna makes it very, very clear that Yaha Shastra Vidhim Utsrajya Vartate Kamakarataha Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Nasukham Na Param Ghatim. So, one who does not follow the injunctions given in the Vedic scriptures, yaha shastra vidhim utsrujya vartate kamakarataha, but acts by his own intuition, by his own by his own whims and wishes, such a person, the Bhagavad Gita declares, Nasasiddhim avapnoti na sukham na param ghatim. Such a person can never attain perfection, happiness, what to speak of the ultimate goal of life. Therefore, Krishna concludes this chapter by saying in 16.24, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te कार्याकार्य व्यवस्थितौ ज्ञात्वा शास्त्र विधानोक्तं कर्म कर्तुम इहार्हसि. Therefore, tasmat shastram pramanam te. One should always follow the pramanam, the authority of the Vedic scriptures in all one's actions. Karya akarya vyavasthito. One should judge anything, either knowledge, actions, prescribed duties, all this, the pramana, the measuring yardstick is whether it is approved by the Shastras. In fact, this was the standard among all the great acharyas in history, either it be Sripada Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Nimbarkacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whenever they would have any discussion with any philosopher, the philosophers would have the golden standard. The yardstick would be the statement of the Shastras, of the scriptures. So they are the ultimate manual. Just like to operate even a simple mobile, you have to follow the instructions of the manual given along with it. To operate a laptop, to operate a television set, for operating anything, you need to follow the guidelines of the manual given by the maker, by the creator. Likewise, this entire creation and everything has got a manual given by the creator himself, and those guidelines are in the manual called the Vedas. It is very clearly stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.40 that Veda pranihito dharmaha hi adharmastad viparyayaha. What is dharma? Dharma is the set of guidelines as given in the Vedas. And what is against the Vedas? That is adharma. So the pramana, whenever there is there is some confusion, whenever there is any misunderstanding about any topic, especially about spirituality, this is very, very important for us to understand, because especially in today's world, there are many, many so-called religionists, there are many, many so-called gurus, there are so many so-called spiritualists, there are many, many spiritual institutions who propagate their own concocted brand of spirituality without any scriptural basis. Mark my words, all such philosophies, all such concocted doctrines are of zero value. Not just zero value, they are negative value, because they are going to drag one to the hellish conditions. Because very clearly in the Bhagavad Gita it is stated that the basis, just like any knowledge, even in medical science, you have to refer to the medical textbook. Engineering, you have to refer to the engineering textbook. In mathematics, you have to refer to the mathematics textbook. The textbook says 2 plus 2 equal to 4. You cannot manufacture a new theory by saying that 2 plus 2 equal to 100 or 2 plus 2 equal to 0. So therefore, the manual for religion, the manual for humanity, the manual for the entire creation is the revealed word of God as given in the Vedas, in the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, Krishna says in 16.24 that Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavasthitau Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Iharhasi. One should follow the injunctions of the scriptures, and in that way, very safely, securely, assuredly, the path given in the Vedas, in the Vedic scriptures, in the Bhagavad Gita, is the 100% guaranteed path. If you follow this path, there is no doubt you progress on the path of spiritual life and definitely attain the supreme perfection of life, to attain moksha, liberation from all material bondage, and go back to the eternal supreme kingdom of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Thus, in this way, um, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna explains about the divine and demoniac qualities in the 16th chapter. If you have any questions about today's topics, please do post it in the WhatsApp group or in the comments box. Please do subscribe to our channel, and please do join us tomorrow for the summary study of the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.